So, as promised, this video will be an exercise, an additional exercise. I will link the exercise in the video description, so if you want to give this exercise a try in advanced, please stop the video here, because the next part of the video will be a solution for this exercise. So, this is something about a vote, and we should assign the value here if the voter has voted for this party here in the first row. And we should use the if function, and if we can do this with like proper addressing, then this will be very easy to do. So if the voter has voted for this party, then the value should be the value here in row 2. Otherwise the value should be 0. And you see, because the voter has voted for FW, the value here is true, otherwise the value would be 0. And now you could either write those value for this 1000 votes and this 9 parties in for every cell, or if you know how to do referencing, you only need to input the formula here once. So you want to have this reference fixed, that the column letter is every time fixed and the row number is dynamic, so that you can track this down. And therefore you need to input your dollar signs, and you need to input the dollar sign here in front of the column letter, and no dollar sign in front of the row number. Here you want to track this down, and the row number should stay every time at 1, so shouldn't be dynamic, and the column letter should be dynamic, so that you can track this formula to the right. So you need to input a dollar sign in front of the row number, and do this as well with the true value. And therefore you can track this formula to the right and track this formula down as well. And as you can see here, this vote is compared to the first row, the appropriate column, and the output value is in the second row and also the appropriate column. So everything should be right, and as you can see, everything is right. We should now make the sum of those values for the first party and also the other parties. And you know, references are dynamic, so you can track this formula to the right. Same for the average. Also right. Then we should round the average down to 1 decimal place. So round down, or should write it proper, 1 decimal place. You could also track this to the right, because references are dynamic, as you can see. Round up to 1 decimal place, also the mean or average. And round with, according to the rounding rules, also to 1 decimal place. And you see, everything is as it should be. Now for the second exercise part, we should use the if function if these values are true. And therefore we need to have an AND here, because we have several values here. So if this equals to this party here, and the station number is 1 or 3, so you could also nest an OR function here inside the AND function, equals 1 or equals 3, So if both is true, if the party is die Grüne and the polling station number is 1 or 3, then the value 2 will be handed out. Otherwise, nothing will be handed out. Sorry, nothing. And here you need to fix this value here. You can fix it 100% because we don't track this formula to the right. You see, nothing is in here. Nothing is in here. But if you track this formula down, you will see that there are some numbers in there. The same for the FDP. If this party, so and, because we want to check for several criteria and multiple criteria should be right at the same time. If this is the so-called FDP and the station number is either 2 or 4, close brackets, then the value 4 should be handed out, make the reference absolute, and then nothing should be handed out if the value isn't true. You could now track this formula down by clicking here because it Excel recognizes a formula at the left and knows, oh, you want to track this formula down as well. So now as well, if the party is the SPD and the station number is 1, 2 or 3, then the value 6 should be handed out, make the reference absolute, otherwise nothing should be handed out. Drag this down also by double clicking on it, and you see your solution is right. Now we should count the votes with count, because you know the count function counts the formulas with values, so numbers in it. So you could use the count here, function here, drag down, and also, as you know, references are relative. You could drag this formula down to the right, and you see the counting was done right. So this was the first exercise. There will also be a second exercise, so please stay with me on this channel.